historic Philip Brown House, located here in White Bear Lake, operated by the White Bear Area Historical Society, offers many fun and interesting events throughout the year, including the annual Pops on the Porch celebration featuring the Moonlight Serenaders. We'll share some sights and sounds of tonight's concert later in the program. But first up to the plate on this September edition of Local Image, a historical trip down memory lane during a visit to Target Field, home of the Minnesota Twins and now part of the great history of the team that we love so much.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score. We're gonna win, Twins, watch that baseball soar. Crack out a home run, shout a hip hooray. Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Well, I'm very excited to be at Target Field for an interview with author Jim Bruton and Kevin Smith, who is the executive director of the PR department here,
yes,
correct?
Yes, you can say public relations director.
Yes, exactly right. Thank you, Kevin, for having us here, making this happen for us. That's so cool.
Well, welcome to Target Field. It's great to have you here.
It's excellent to be here with our good friend Jim Bruton, who's written many books, but his latest is We Love Our Twins, an inside look at the Minnesota Twins. And Jim, this book covers so much ground. There's so much in here, but the common thread that seems to go throughout, and I think a point you wanted to really get across, was kind of the Twins way and the family atmosphere of the Twins. So why was that an important focus for you in this book? And why did you decide that this was a really good time to come out with this book?
Well, you know, following the Twins from the time I was a young kid in the early 60s when they came here was just tremendous. And as the Twins progressed to become really an outstanding ball club through the years, I constantly heard this, the Twins way, the Twins way. Well, I guess I really wanted to know, was it more than just a lot of verbiage and talk and everything? And Kevin and I talked about that when I first started to put the book together.
Mm-hmm.
And there really is something special about this organization, all the way from the way they handle players, to the way they draft players, to the way they run their farm system, to the way they're managed from the dugout, from the clubhouse. It's very different. And I point out, I thought one of the interesting parts was how the Twins spend so much less money than so many teams.
Exactly.
And yet they do so much better. So there must be something to all this talk about the Twins way.
Let's talk a little bit about you being such a fan, because that's a big part of this book, is the fans that love their Twins no matter what. And you started out loving the Twins by listening to them in the basement.
Oh yeah,
on the radio.
Right in the
when
radio.
You were just a little boy.
Just a little kid, and in the 60s, of course, when they came here, I mean, I had followed the St. Paul Saints, which was an affiliate of the Dodgers back then, and so I was a Milwaukee Braves fan because they were closer than certainly the Dodgers. But when the Twins came here, it was just something so special. I went to so many games as a kid out at the old Met Stadium and became a real Harmon Killebrew lover like everybody else, and saw him hit so many great home runs. And so to just have a chance to do this book it was just fantastic. And again, I don't want to keep complimenting Kevin, but I'm going to. I'm going to because he asked me to. No, not really. But I mean, right from the beginning, the enthusiasm of the organization, and I think I delivered when the book came out. I think I delivered 18 books to you to give to people in the organization that helped me with this.
Exactly.
So it's just from top to bottom, whether it's on the field or off the field, it's just a tremendous organization. So it was such a thrill for me to write it, and the title is so appropriate. I mean, We Love Our Twins, because it's certainly appropriate for me because I love the Twins and have for years, but all of the many fans, which of course I interviewed a lot of fans in the book, and every one of them, they love our Twins.
They praise it. And now, Kevin, you've been here since 2006, so you've been here for quite a while, and you are living the Twins way. So what does that mean to you on a day-to-day basis? What's an example of what that really embodies?
Well, I think the Twins way has been widely talked about throughout the league, and it's really kind of hard to pin your finger on what exactly that means. But it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I think in this context, I think the Twins way is how we, as an organization, treat our fans and our guests and our employees. And the fans across Twins territory and the country for that matter, and how we keep our prices relatively low
Yeah.
speaking, for tickets so families can
Make
afford
it doable.
I wish I could agree with Jim that we don't spend too much money, but our payroll is up there these days, as we all know. But just to kind of do things the right way and treat people like you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
And work hard every day. Don't take shortcuts. Don't take anything for granted. And just try to do things right by people. And I think that's what the Twins way means.
And that was started right from the start with Calvin Griffith, the original owner of the Twins, correct? I mean, if it wasn't for him, the Twins wouldn't be here. They were the Washington Senators.
Of course, Calvin Griffith, and I found that to be one of the more interesting parts of the research, was to do a lot of the history on him. And I think in some ways at least my opinion was that he was talked about somewhat unfairly as being a miser and not having ever enough money to pay the players enough so that they would stay and all of those kinds of things. But what I found so interesting was the fact that he was one of the few owners, if at the time the only owner back in Washington, where the baseball team, that was his livelihood. He couldn't rest on some corporate conglomerate group of people that would back him up, and that's how he made his money. And if they didn't make money on the baseball team, he was out of business.
Right.
Even to the point where there's a story about him putting extra ice in the drink so they save the pop, and
kind of started that whole trend.
Yeah. You could say certainly it's not just a baseball book. It's so much about people and the organization. I mean, Kevin's role, I know, is a lot with the community fund and what they do in the community outreach is just unbelievable. What some of the programs and the things. In fact, we've even set up as part of the contract with the book is that part of the royalties go to the community fund. So
I think foundationally part of what our culture is the community and giving back to the community. That's one of the main pieces, components of our organization, and that goes from the front office on down. Mm-hmm. The other day, for example, we had 75 staff working with the Toro staff, our grounds crew, to rebuild a softball and baseball field in the North Commons in North Minneapolis. That's where North High will play their games. The athletic director came out in the morning to say thank you, and then she came back in the afternoon and saw the results and started crying.
Oh my gosh!
We dedicated the Frank Quillisi Field in North Minneapolis also recently, where those kids can play on a pristine, beautiful field, and a nice place attracts more interest, and so we hope we get more kids playing baseball and softball.
Absolutely.
And that's the community fund is the heart of Twins territory.
Yeah,
there's no question about that. And
from the ground up.
And our players participate. Michael Kadire, one of the greatest ambassadors there is. Justin Morneau.
Yes.
These guys do stuff that you don't even see.
Right.
The other day, Michael Kadire had a celebrity waiter event and had 9 or 10 players serving meals at a restaurant to raise money for Boys and Girls Clubs. So
That's awesome.
I think our players get it. When you're in the organization, you understand the importance and relevance of being good community stewards, and we see that.
Important in the book too. A lot of the book talks about kind of the recruitment aspect and the scouting, aspect, and that is an element that is looked for in these players.
Our scouts look at how these players act when they get on the bus, how they act with their teammates and their manager, how they interact with the clubhouse kids in the locker rooms and the clubhouses, and how they act if they don't like the call from the umpire, and what they do when they get back on the bus and go back to the hotel. I mean, it's not just about what you can do out here at Target Field or on the minor league field. It's about who you are as a person. Yeah. And if you look at a guy like Michael Kadire, who's been with the Twins since he was 18 years old, and look what he's done in his career, he really is the personification of what the Twins way is.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things, too, that really struck me as I started this, and it was the first time we met, and you emphasized a couple of things that I just thought were incredible, that gave me really an incentive to get moving with it. And one was the tremendous attitudes of a lot of the former players. Like I remember you talking about Killebrew and Rod Carew and what they do for this, for the organization and for kids, and when they have the different programs and everything. And the second thing was, I was amazed at how important it was to the organization that Target Field be a fan-friendly experience. I mean, those two things really stood out for me, and this has it lived up to what you wanted?
Look, I can only tell you that in August we hosted the Major League Baseball's RBI World Series. That stands for Reviving Baseball in the Inner Cities.
Okay.
It's a Major League Baseball program that we operate in the Twin Cities, the Community Fund. basically subsidizes 5,000 kids to play baseball and softball in the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Well, the World Series came to Minneapolis and St. Paul. Kids from Houston and New York and New Jersey and Venezuela and the Dominican Republic all came for a 2-week tournament. And every coach I talked to said that this was the best one they've been to, and they came to Target Field and they had a wonderful experience. And the Houston coach said, you know, I have only one piece of advice for my kids for next year to get back to the World Series. That is, remember, we're going back to Minneapolis and Target Field.
Oh, that is so cool.
So from all those accounts, it's been wonderful. I had a kid from New Jersey who's a big Yankees fan come up to me and say, we played a game in Yankee Stadium, and we played a game here. And I got to tell you, I think Target Field is better than Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
So hey, we'll take that as a firsthand knowledge of what they're talking about. So I think Target Field has lived up to what it was supposed to be. We got through the first year with 3.2 million fans, and we'll probably hit 3.2 again this year.
It's great to be back outside the way baseball is meant to be played, all that. And, you know, obviously the Twins this year, you know, some struggles, maybe not exactly what we would hope for as fans, but still an exciting season. And just recently, reaching 600 for Thome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, moments like that just make all the kind of the tougher times more joyous.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, our fans. You know, let's face it. We've treated fans pretty well. I mean, 6 division titles in 9 years. We've got employees here who have never not gone to the playoffs.
Yes.
I remember friends of mine who used to work here in the 90s who couldn't spell playoffs.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And so this is a game that will humble you, and you take the good with the bad. But you look at all the milestones that we've reached in this season with Jim Thome, 600 career home runs. Joe Nathan surpassing Ricky Aguilera, the all-time save leader. Unfortunate things, the passing of Harmon Killebrew, which was a milestone in and of itself. Bert Blyleven going into the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
So there have been many, many things in 2011 that I think we can celebrate and we can look back on as a successful season.
And Jim, for you, I mean, fan for so many years, can you pick just one thing that just really elevates to the top for you as a fan?
Well, I think it's sitting out at the old Met Stadium before the All-Star game in '65 when Killebrew hit a monster home run that beat the Yankees to go into the '65 All-Star game. I'll never forget that. There's so many great thrills. So I tell you, I've been very, very humbled and proud to write this book because I really do love the Twins, and it was just so much fun to write it.
And I encourage folks to pick up this book, We Love Our Twins, Inside Look at the Minnesota Twins, because there's so much more great stories in here and tidbits of information that most people probably don't even know about. So thank you so much, Kevin, for having us out here. You made one of my memories.
Great, thank you.
To be here, and thank you, Jim, for another great book. And go Twins! There's a nice breeze coming off of White Bear Lake here on the front lawn of the historic Philip Brown House, where soon the Pops on the Porch concert will get underway. And it is that dependable breeze coming off the lake that spurred an idea by a group of Mahtomedi residents to incorporate a wind turbine on the grounds of Mahtomedi High School. We featured the group and their plan last year, and now we go back to see the celebration of the new Zephyr wind turbine in this local image segment.
Well, today we're celebrating the completion or near completion of our project to put up a 10 kilowatt wind turbine on the outskirts of the football field at Mahtomedi High School.
Good evening. Thank you so much for being here. This is overwhelming to see you all. We're here tonight to dedicate the Zephyr wind turbine and have a ribbon cutting ceremony, and thank you for all you did to make this possible. You committed your time and your money and your energy and your support over kind of a long period in a tough economy to raise the money so that we could give this turbine to our school district and to our city as a source of community pride.
It started for me about 2 years ago when I was approached by a fellow high school student about making a Mahtomedi High School Eco Club. And one of the first steps after we created the club was starting fundraising for the wind turbine project. And so we worked hard on that for 2 years now, and the fundraising finally completed. And now it's just, it's something to show for what we've been doing for all this time.
As a city, we wish to give special recognition to Magi and their community partners, which you all are, for the wind turbine and its contribution to our city and our schools.
Again, thank you on behalf of the Mahtomedi School District to say a few words and celebrate this very tall achievement. I understand that this idea, the genesis, was formed in many places, but one that I've heard is on the soccer fields here in Mahtomedi, where if you've ever had an opportunity to do sports with your kids up here, you'll know that the wind quite frequently does blow free.
This turbine is a relatively small turbine. It produces the equivalent amount of energy of 2 homes, so it's not going to make a huge dent in the amount of energy produced for this school district, but all of the energy produced will go towards reducing the energy demands of the school. And mostly, we're really excited about the educational opportunities that students get to have some real hands-on experience with this new type of energy.
We're going to have it hooked up real time to show what the correlation between wind speed and how much energy is created, so that they can understand that there's a real process here, that what used to take burning and combustion we can do with generators. It's just a simple machine, how something gets turned and a generator gets turned, and how it all just comes together to make energy.
I want to thank all the current students and the alumni students that are here today to celebrate in this. And so we have our very next future class of kindergartners and one of our juniors here to cut with us. So, Matt.
Yay! Hooray!
I am extremely proud. This is my trophy. This is what we have worked so hard to complete.
The Zephyrs are alive and well in our community.
The 2011 White Bear Area Relay for Life was once again a big success for the organization, raising funds and support for the ongoing fight against cancer and remembering those who have lost their battle while celebrating the increasing number of survivors that hold strong against the disease. Photographer Scott Jensen and intern Cindy Yang share a special look at this year's relay, a nod of thanks to all who made it happen, making for a great celebration.
And you have to throw the beanbag and try and get it on one of the little stick-outs. Like that.
I had no idea that I was going to get cancer at such a young age, and I had no idea that I was going to survive. But right after they told me those 3 terrible words, "you have cancer," they said that I have a 95% cure rate.
Once we found out about the relay, we had him fundraising. We didn't let him worry about getting sick. We didn't let him worry about any money bills, nothing. We just kept him focused on something, and we were so lucky to have this relay come into our life that we were able to just keep his energy and his positivity going in this direction.
Throughout this entire time, I've learned just how much people actually care for me. My Caring Bridge website has gotten over 5,000 views on it already in just 3 months, and it's unbelievable. A neighbor of mine posted up a quote early on in my journey that reads, "Tough times never last, but tough people do." The second that was read to me for the first time, I decided I was one of those tough people.
While I hate to say goodbye to summer, there are aspects of a Minnesota fall season that are very inviting. The autumn colors, of course, but also the tastes and aromas of fall, especially when they are served up so fabulously and for such a great cause. I'm referring to the 2011 Valley Vine Harvest Throwdown, of course. Once again, the Lake Elmo Inn Event Center will host the Chef's Competition featuring world-class chefs from the participating restaurants of Domacine, Lake Elmo Inn, Luna Rosa, Mark's Fusion Bistro, Phil's Club Terra, San Pedro, and Smalley's Caribbean Barbecue. Will Lake Elmo Inn chef John Schiltz be able to defend his 2010 title? There's only one way to find out, and that's to join in the fun and vote for your favorite to decide who will win the Top Cuisine Award. This friendly chef competition means more than bragging rights for the winner of the Throwdown. It also means ongoing support for families and individuals through Human Services Incorporated. So please put the Valley Vine Harvest Throwdown on your calendar for Sunday, October 9th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Lake Elmo Inn Event Center. And for more information about HSI, please visit their website at hsicares.org. And to purchase your Throwdown ticket, visit 2011 Valley Vine and Harvest Throwdown.eventbrite.com or call 651-251-5013 for details. Now, let's get the details on another big event that everyone who ever graduated from White Bear Area Schools will want to know about. It's the topic of conversation in this Local Image interview. My guests today for this Local Image segment are Jim Berry and Deb Hoff, and they are the co-chairs of the 2011 All-School Reunion and Open House, which is set to take place later this month, end of September and 1st of October. Tell us a little bit about when you started this process, and there's a committee, so obviously there's other people too. Tell us a little bit about what's going on here.
We started over a year ago. Wow. I mean, well over a year ago, and of course as it gets closer, your meetings get closer and closer together. I'd say there's 10 of us maybe on the committee, but we are still looking for volunteers.
Yeah, 10 that have survived over
yes.
a year.
Yeah.
Keep coming back. No, and it's been fun. It's been a very large cross section. We've got people on the committee that graduated in the
40s.
Oh my goodness.
And 50, just about every decade.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So what was the main goal in putting this year's event together? Because I understand they happen maybe every 3 years. This is not the first one. So what was the goal going into this one, would you say, the biggest focus?
I think to maybe attract more members to the Educational Foundation and the Alumni Association. Okay. Because there are a lot of alumni. We could have 30,000 people, basically. You know, I mean, if we wouldn't, obviously, but there's a lot of people, big classes in White Bear.
It's easy to become a member of the alumni. It's $15 a year. But it keeps you up to date with the newsletter that comes out also on what's going on.
Tell us about some of the key things that are going to be taking place. It's over 2 days, the 30th of September and the 1st of October, and it's kind of around the homecoming for White Bear Lake this year, right?
Right, and that was the key. Yeah. Having the homecoming and the homecoming parade is kind of that necessary little draw and kind of tie into it. This, I believe, will be the first time it's 2 days.
Okay, that's good.
We kind of tied another event to it with a pancake breakfast on Saturday morning. So the main thing will be event will be then on Friday the 30th.
Okay.
And that'll coincide with the homecoming parade. We'll open at 1, I believe.
1 o'clock,
in the afternoon.
Here at the Armory.
At the Armory.
Okay.
And what do we have?
It's really an open house style. That we'll have tables set up in the middle for people to sit, but all around the perimeter are memorabilia, trophies, photographs. Then there'll be registration tables. We are going to have a book signing, which we just did today.
We just agreed to today. Yeah.
Kathy Carey, who wrote the history of White Bear.
Yep, we're good friends with Kathy.
Yeah, so she's going to come and sign books, and that'll be kind of fun, I think.
Okay.
We will have kind of a Hall of Fame induction of, is it 3 people this year or 4?
They haven't made that decision.
Okay.
There's 4 nominees, and I don't even know who all
but
the
they're
nominees
always either teachers, former teachers, or business community people, or students that are Hall of Famers.
Excellent.
Get onto our wall of fame.
Yes. They all have to be a graduate of White Bear Lake, though. That's the stipulation.
All right.
And that will be at 5 o'clock.
On that Friday.
So that's about as structured as we get.
Yeah.
There will be displays of trophies and memorabilia from all the decades.
Wow.
That both. Now, it's all school because it's White Bear High School, it's Mariner, it's ALC, it's everyone connected to the White Bear Lake Area School District.
For those of us that remember Mariner
Yes,
back in the day, that's very cool.
I'm the only one of my siblings that was White Bear High School. The other four were all Mariners.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Very cool. So what is it that you think will make this year's event so special? I mean, what are you guys really looking forward to?
I'm just looking for kind of the whole get-together and mix. There's some people from other classes that I'm curious to see and talk to, just to kind of reconnect with different people, plus with teachers that I have.
What are you most looking forward to?
I'm really hoping to draw a lot of younger people, which has been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
I think
classes in the 90s, the 2000s, come on.
Which includes my kids, you know. So I'm hoping to get a little younger crowd too, because it should be everything.
Right. Tell us about this bell and what that's all about.
Well, that's what's new with the second day. So Saturday morning is the Bell Benefit Breakfast. Well, we'd like to mount that bell back onto something and get it ringing again. It was at the old Washington School, which, of course, now we have senior housing that's on the site. But the bell still exists, and we'd like to get that mounted and displayed. So it'll be 8 to 11. I think we have a $6 price point on the breakfast: pancakes, sausage, coffee, and milk. And then also at 9, the Classic Car Show will open up, and that'll be Lynn Lindbeck has been putting that together.
Yes,
Always puts on a great show, so
Absolutely.
that'll be out on the streets out here.
So get out and support your White Bear Lake schools and the foundation.
And join the alumni.
And join the alumni.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You're not tied into anything, but you stay in touch with what's going on.
Okay, and again, it's September 30th and October 1st. Plenty of opportunities to get out and reconnect with some of your old classmates and meet some new people. So best wishes. Thanks for all your hard work.
No, thank you, Judy. We appreciate
Very
that.
much appreciate and I hope it's a huge success. Speaking of high school reunions, I need to give a shout out to all of my North High class of 1981 classmates. I hope to see you at the reunion on September 10th at the North St. Paul American Legion. There's a Facebook page with more information, so be sure to check that out. Meanwhile, I'm going to enjoy some of the fun here at the Phila Brown House with some soothing sounds of the Moonlight Serenaders. And until next month, I'm Judy Skyboss, and I do thank you for watching Local Image.
1, 2, 3, 4.